And a good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Issues and Attitudes. My name is Jeff Owens, WEIU Director. Kate Slaughter is my new student co-host. Welcome, Kate.
Well, thank you for having me.
Guests today are from Emerald Acres Sports Connection, Tyler Yoder, the new GM out there. Welcome, Tyler.
Excited. Thanks for having me.
And Blake Pierce making a repeat appearance from the Rural King real estate side, but obviously big into this Emerald Acres as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Well, appreciate you coming in. Exciting times. I live in Mattoon, drive to Charleston every day, so I go by there twice a day. So much is happening. So why don't we just give a little bit of like what's going on out at the complex right now, and we'll get into some details. So, Tyler?
Yeah, a lot of it is focused on the construction phase. You know, every day you mentioned as you drive by it, it's something new every single day. Right now we're working on a lot of the subflooring. Hopefully the hardwood courts will go down here in a few weeks and really start to look and feel like a gym. So we're excited for the progress. Obviously a lot's being made and a great team around us with Rural King and a lot of our partners and making all that happen.
So when you heard about this job, how did you kind of get to take over and be the GM out there?
Yeah, previously working in college athletics, I knew that I always wanted to be involved in the sports industry. And, you know, obviously working over in New Orleans at Tulane, you're a little bit far from home, originally a Champaign native. So wanted to find my way back to Illinois. And as soon as I saw this opportunity come on board and Mattoon with Emerald Acres, I jumped right on it. Some of my old coworkers ended up working for the sports facilities companies, which is the partner in allowing Emerald Acres to happen. That's ultimately who I work for. So having that opportunity, knowing a few individuals that transitioned over to the sports tourism side of things was certainly something that I was very excited for.
So you went from the Green Wave
to the Green Wave.
The Green Wave and Emerald Acres. There you go. Very good. For you, Blake, in the business side of this thing, who's all building out there right now, and what's the next phase of who's starting to do construction?
So the exciting part, everybody saw the red and white sign go up for Chick-fil-A.
Yep.
So I think they should be open. I don't have the exact date, but I think they should be opening here pretty quick. There's a small shopping center building where Chipotle and Sports Clips, Maurice's, I think are all probably opening this year. And then Panda Express is under contract, and hopefully they'll get closed and start construction before too long. And then the large shopping center building, got a number of tenants in there. Got most of those leases kind of done. And the exciting one that people debate is Texas Roadhouse. They've signed a lease. Their timing still exactly to be determined. We're hoping to be able to start construction sooner than later on that. But the commercial side's kind of chugging along.
Okay, go ahead, Kate.
What was the question again? Sorry.
No, just what you wanted to ask. Do you want to ask these guys anything?
Oh yeah, I was kind of thinking about one thing. Just kind of as a prior travel baseball player, I kind of was looking on there. It said you had an entertainment venue, kind of an arcade place. Necessarily, I know a lot of the kids get bored necessarily when it comes to the tournament times, and you know when their older brothers or older sisters are playing their respective sports, they have something to do. You know, generally speaking. What do you really have to say on that as far as that's concerned?
No, it's part of the venue that we're certainly really excited for. Obviously, the drive to this facility is the sports tourism side, but we fully understand we want families, little brothers, little sisters to be able to do something while the other sibling is playing. So having something to offer, like a family entertainment center, offering arcade games, virtual reality, augmented reality, just gives them something to do while at the facility, but it also opens up the facility throughout your midweeks. You know, if you want to go play an arcade game in the midweek, you can certainly go and do that. And we put a good investment into what that looks like. Obviously, there are going to be different levels or different bosses, et cetera, to different games. So just making sure that those are updated, always something a little bit different to stay on track with what we're doing. And it's not the same game every single time. Certainly something that we're excited for and want to open up to the public when we can.
Will you have e-tournaments in for those games as well, since that's kind of a growing industry?
Yeah, we'll certainly look into it. We're looking at the travel piece right now and what all that looks like. A lot of it is going to be your set-in-place games rather than computer monitors, but certainly a space that we can offer a lot to.
The question everybody seems to also want to know is, you know, when do you look at being open this fall? I've heard you maybe want to do a community breakfast out there, and then when after that, when would be maybe the first, I guess, competition for easiest way to say it?
Yeah, a lot of it's just focused on getting this construction done. Obviously, that's the main priority right now, but hopefully a tentative mid to late November. We're looking on finalizing a date on when exactly the facility opens, but that's the main goal, and as soon as we open, it's open up those doors, start getting these tournaments, a lot of these community breakfasts. I think with a space like this, obviously the main goal is the sports tourism side, but we can focus on a lot of different areas that are outside of sports, whether it's networking events, community breakfasts, a lot of those type of things that we can differ outside of the sport industry as well.
And how many different sports do you think you'll eventually have at the Emerald Acres?
It's endless. It's a good number. With the amount of space that we have, we can get really creative in what we're offering. Obviously, the indoor is, the hardwood courts, the 8 basketball, the 16 volleyball, but we're looking into adding pickleball tick marks as well. I think that's something that we want to look into offering year-round for the pickleball community. But with that big of a space, especially when you start to include the outdoor, the opportunities are endless. One thing that we're getting a lot of interest in right now is futsal. It's actually indoor soccer that we can start to utilize within the gym. So it's I can't really put an exact number of sports on it, just knowing that it's a lot of sports that we can offer with the amount of space that we do have.
Are you amazed at how fast pickleball has just grown? I'm surprised it's not in the 2028 Olympics the way it's growing right now.
Yeah.
Based on some of the sports I saw, I think it should be.
I mean,
Honestly,
we saw break dancing and synchronized swimming. It's like, okay, whatever. Congrats to those people, but pickleball at least seems to be a little bit more athletic. So maybe 2032. Restaurants? Any other restaurants looking? I know you can't always say names and stuff, but are other
yes, there's several others that are kind of evaluating it. I think the projects we have good momentum on the commercial side. I think as it gets open and it becomes a venue, like we just got roads poured in front of the shopping center building, and some of it's got to be people want to see that it's actually happening before they commit and start to see some of the visitors. So it'll continue to develop. We still have space to do a few more things. And then the other news I'd mention was a hotel.
That's what I was going to
Yeah,
read my
hotel's
mind.
going to go in. They're hoping to start construction here in September on that and be open basically this time next year.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. So I was kind of reading a little bit more, because I'm really interested on this. This is basically like Grand Park over in Indianapolis, which I'm pretty acclimated with just, from my youth in general. But I was reading on the website, it said about 60,000 hotel rooms annually is to be projected. That's around, if I was reading the numbers right, $28 million in revenue. That's crazy.
So we're not quite as grand as Grand Park.
Of
that
course.
One is,
Not yet.
I think that's the largest facility in the country, actually. But when we got back our feasibility study that Sports Facilities helped us with, they kind of gave us what they thought would be the right amount of assets for where we're at and what we're doing. So the anticipated economic impact once the center's fully up and running and we got a full year's worth of tournaments going is actually about 580,000 people a year visiting. We anticipate it's like 25 million of impact spend within the community. Hotel nights, about 60,000 additional hotel nights. So we have some existing hotels. We need more to help accommodate those people to stay in the area. Again, this whole project was really about economic development and using sports tourism as a way to attract more businesses, retail, restaurant, ultimately the economy to improve locally. And so we need those additional things, and hopefully the sports complex is able to help us to do that.
When you talk about this thing right now, people they want to see things. I saw all the time people are stopping by. Is it best for people not to stop in out there and try to take pictures? Because everybody's posting pictures everywhere. They're going to do it anyway. But would you prefer them not until you could actually have maybe an official event?
I would probably advise maybe from the road, especially as we're under construction. But no, we're certainly excited that people are excited to see that, and we're obviously wanting to make all the progress we can in the construction phase so we can open up those doors as quickly as possible.
Charlie, can you give us some more background on you? You said you're from Champaign, ended up at Tulane. In between there, you play sports, and how'd you end up at Tulane and then back here?
Yeah, played sports in high school over at Centennial and Champaign. I always used to like the saying of those who can't play assist. So I certainly didn't go off to play college ball like I wanted to, but knew that I really wanted to focus in the sports industry side of things, whether it was in college athletics or now sports tourism. But ended up seeing my way over to Ball State in Muncie, Indiana, strictly for undergrad, and used that to progress through the sport industry, and found my way over to Georgia with a few different schools. Still in college athletics, working with my master's, and ended up being assistant athletic director over a Division II school, Young Harris College over in North Georgia, and ultimately that led me over to Tulane. So a lot of my focus was in facility and event management, specifically running facilities at a college level, and certainly that helps to run a nice facility like this, but also the events side of things, of being in New Orleans, you get a lot of major events within the city, whether it be a Super Bowl, Final Four, all those sort of things. So getting experience in the events side of things certainly helped, and making that transition over from college athletics to the sports tourism side of things was certainly nice to see, and something I'm excited for.
Blake, I don't know how much involvement you had in getting Tyler here, but when you see somebody like Tyler coming back to Central Illinois and running this, it's got to please you a little bit. You're a local guy like I am, as is Kate, actually, from Robinson.
Yeah. So, yeah, as part of the process, kind of as a reminder, so the facility itself is owned by a not-for-profit board that I serve on. And then we've hired the sports facilities companies to manage the facilities. And so they run the hiring process. They're the employer of the employees that are at the facility, ultimately the ones that led the recruiting program that brought Tyler in. But as part of that process, we had the opportunity to be involved in his hire, actually. Yeah. And so he came to town, he met our board, faced a grueling set of questions that he passed. But yes, one of the benefits that we saw was having some connection to the area. That always helps. And I think just with the interactions with people.
The fact that he said Mattoon,
you know how to pronounce it, right?
I like him already. He didn't say it wrong.
He even said we beat him in high school a few times, so that made me feel good too. But no, we liked his background. Obviously, a little bit younger guy, but he's got a lot of energy. He's got enough experience, we thought, to be able to do the job. So what are you doing out there now? I mean, when they're in the construction phase, do you go out there every day, or are you working kind of behind the scenes at the office?
I'm checking it quite often. Our main focus right now is in the hiring phase, building a team around us, whether it's facilities, marketing, events management, just focusing on a lot of those hires to put in a good team around us. But yeah, I'm out there quite frequently throughout the week, just checking on progress.
So how many people will you need to kind of help run the facility when it's up and running with the indoor and outdoor and everything?
Full time, we're probably looking at 6 or 7 employees. Obviously, that'll grow and expand as we build out the outdoor, but we'll look to use an extensive amount of part-time workers from around the community to help us with the daily operations.
Like, you've been big on this a whole part of it's been, seems like it's been a process. Is it now that you see the buildings there and you see some progress every day, it's got to kind of make you feel pretty good in the heart, right?
Yeah, we're coming back this weekend from up north and getting off the interstate into Mattoon. That whole area is starting to look different, and it's kind of like, oh wow, what's going on here? And so moments like that are nice. I'll tell you, there's still a lot of work to do. So I mean, I don't know if and when there'll be a moment where we go, oh, we finally made it, But yeah, we're 5 years plus in the making on this thing right now, and we got a few more years at least to go. But it's happening, and when things start going vertical, that's when I think everybody starts to believe that it's real.
It's good to work for a rural company like Rural King. It really has a commitment to the community. Talk about Rural King and what they mean to this project. Maybe
sure. So Rural King was donated all the ground for the sports complex, and is one of the donors on top of that. But more importantly, they've allowed people like myself and a couple other people on our team to spend our daytime working on this project. When we're figuring out how to build a sports complex, that does zero to help with what I'm supposed to be doing on a daily basis. But it's good for our community.
Yeah.
And so I enjoy it. They give us the latitude to do that because without it, I mean, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to make this stuff happen. Just simple things like getting bills paid. I mean, that is a process, ordeal, organize, get approved. And if you, we have a volunteer board, it would not get accomplished if we couldn't spend some daytime on it.
Does anything worry you right now? I mean, do you go to bed thinking, "Oh man, it's in this," because it's a brand new baby, really, when it's getting ready to be born?
No, I don't think I have a whole lot of worries right now. It's just focusing on that, building that staff, building that schedule out. Obviously, we want to get that to where we're a few years out and really progressing. We would just encourage and want all these tournament organizers and teams to really just push the agenda to come to Emerald Acres and look what all we can accommodate. We truly feel that this facility is something that can sell itself, right? When you walk through the doors, a state-of-the-art facility like this, certainly something that we can accommodate a wider range of teams, wider range of sports. So really just wanting to build on that momentum and build out that schedule.
What about you, Blake? Any tough parts so far, or you think you're past the toughest?
Toughest parts so far. As of right now, I'd say the biggest challenge is getting geared up for the phase 2. So phase 1 was building the indoor building. Phase 2 is all the outdoor fields. And so I think we've made it pretty much through kind of design finalization for that. But figuring out when exactly to officially greenlight that with the amount of tenants that we have, I'm optimistic that that'll still happen this year. That's probably the biggest thing that's on my mind, because he gets to worry about the day-to-day stuff now.
There you go. Travel sports are obviously all the rage right now. Even if you look in Mattoon, Charleston, there's so many different teams now, and in the main sports of baseball and softball, and volleyball is growing like leaps and bounds. And we talked about pickleball. But again, there's also a lot of places being built like this in this country. So how does Emerald Acres going to stand out? What's going to make it stand out? Is it the tradition of Mattoon and Charleston having great baseball and softball, or is it just, if you can answer that, I think that's a big question that people want to know.
Let me go first, and I'll let you chime in. So part of it had to do with our design of the building and adding in some amenities that we thought are unique for these centers. So having the entertainment center in the facility. Not all of them have that. That is a unique attribute. We have the Sarah Bush Walk-In Clinic is going to be located in the facility. Somebody's sick, somebody turns an ankle, they can get help right on site. That's very unusual. We put in college-level locker rooms to be able to do larger events, college-level events if we need to. That's a little bit more rare. And ease of access. We're 2 turns off the interstate. We're putting in all this shopping and hotels and restaurants you could walk to. All those things combined, I think, makes for a unique facility that is tough to replicate. Certainly other places are doing that, but not everybody is. And what I'd like you to speak a little bit to, Tyler, is some of the facilities that are springing up in the area are actually also underneath the purview of sports facilities companies. So you want to give some color to that?
Yeah, referencing that, obviously Blake hit it right on the head with everything that we're wanting to do. But when you look at the local market, especially within the state of Illinois, we're starting to see a lot of these facilities come up, whether it be Springfield, New Lenox, wherever else it may be. We as a sports facilities companies ultimately manage 65 plus accounts across the country. We'll ultimately oversee some of those facilities coming up within the state of Illinois. So when you take a look at a facility like Emerald Acres and Mattoon and the area that it's in, I think we can use that to our benefit of being able to partner with a lot of those other facilities, know their schedules like the back of our hands. We're obviously going to be working with a lot of the teams, tournaments that'll be taking place at some of the other facilities as well. So being able to partner and bring a lot of those teams over here to Mattoon is certainly going to help us. And it's not necessarily, or at least we don't view it as direct competition. It's more so working together to make sure that the facilities are getting utilized and we're bringing that economic impact to the city of Mattoon.
Oh, the other thing, it's kind of an issue, I think, not an issue, I hate that word, sounds bad, but umpire and official shortages all across the country in high school, even college sports right now. How do you combat that? I mean, are you going to have some training out there for umpires and officials?
Yeah, it's very similar to what I mentioned earlier, just the amount of space that we have. We want to get creative in what we're doing, whether that's coaches clinics, officiating clinics, just really making sure that we're putting our best foot forward for youth sports. And that's not just through tournaments, not just through leagues, but it's offering everything that can better that initiative within the youth sports. And obviously that is somewhat of a concern with umpiring, and that's not just within the state or the local area, it's across the country. So really putting our due diligence in to make sure that we're putting in the proper training, the programming we can to make sure that we'll have that on site.
That's cool.
I'd say I used to officiate baseball and did football in the past as well. And one of the things, again with the facility, we had a designated officials room. Place they can change, private bathrooms, their own access. Taking care of officials goes a long way at a facility when they want to say, yes, I want to come, or no, I don't. And so we try to put in the infrastructure to help.
I don't think I remember ever seeing an officials room in any of those, mostly baseball and softball.
Yeah, and where it's located, it can work for the outside or the inside in their own private area. And then you take care of them when they're there, make them feel like you want them to be there. And that can, even within a shortage, they'll get to choose where they're going on the weekends. And if you can be a site that they want to be at and you take care of them, it'll help mitigate that a little bit.
That's unique. I like that. Do you have a question?
I was just thinking about, because a lot of the times we talked about in class, especially in my grad program, just about how people really kind of the difference between this is not really a great comparison, but Europe and the United States, how a lot of people walk a little bit more because everything's a lot closer over in Europe, of course. Just thinking about it, a lot of the times during the tournaments, I remember having to leave at least, 5 or 10 minutes and trying to make it back to the premises just to be able to, of course, make it back to the game, be able to meet back up with the team. But everything's there. Everything is just right there for people, even for the older crowd that may have a little bit of trouble walking, it seems like. That's what just really stands out to me is the convenient aspect. Everyone can walk anywhere. You don't have to really leave. You know, I mean, you can get something at one of your restaurants, and then go a little shopping, and then go over back out to the baseball fields.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of everything. It's
There
great.
is a lot, yeah. We want to make that convenient. I do want to say, though, there's a lot of other, I think, businesses in the area that are interested in how can I make people aware that when they're here, my business exists too, even if I'm not right next door. Or, for instance,
Right.
Eastern. You know,
Yeah.
I want all these kids to know that Eastern Illinois is 10 minutes away, and while you're in Coles County, maybe you should go check it out. And so we're talking. We've had a few conversations of how can we put some things in the facility to give exposure to other businesses in the area, and specifically for Lakeland and Eastern, give them exposure to all these pre-college kids that are going to be in the facility most weekends.
Now, for the volleyball courts and then either the baseball and softball fields and the soccer fields outside, will any of them have like naming rights or naming, or are you going to give some to maybe some great athletes who played in Coles County? What's your thought process on some of the fun stuff?
I hadn't thought about the great athletes in Coles County part before. So we did our initial round of fundraising for the facility. We raised about $11 million for phase one, and a lot of that had naming rights associated with some of those donations. So on the indoor side, there's a few opportunities we have left, but most of those are basically spoken for this time. My fundraising committee, we are getting ready to launch kind of a phase two of the fundraising, and it's going to be more focused on the outdoor side. We've sold some of those. A couple of the championship fields have already kind of been called for, but yes. So there's still opportunity for donors that are interested on some naming right opportunities. And then the big piece, and I'm glad you brought this up, we're getting ready to launch our brick campaign. So Emerald Acres Bricks is live right now. You're gonna start seeing in the next month a lot more marketing about that. But we're gonna have a 4-foot wall in front of the indoor facility that donors can be a part of, and I think it's for as low as $500, you can get a brick with your name on it or have anything not derogatory that you want it to say, and be a part of the project. And so we'll probably do 2 rounds of that. We'll do one here leading up towards the end of the year. We might do another one next year, but just to try to, because I'll be honest, our sponsorship levels, we have $1 million donors, but then you also have people that want to be involved in $1,000 donors, and we want to give that opportunity for people to feel like they can be part of the project.
Okay. The other question I have to ask you guys, because I think it's important, because this is another one that going around, is how will you work with the already existing local Mattoon, basically, because it's in Mattoon, sports leagues, and if they want to play there or access and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, a lot of what we're doing is going to be program driven, whether it's leagues, tournaments. We certainly want to focus on the tourism side of things and bring people from the outside local area, but also working with local teams here, whether that's operating as a home base here at Emerald Acres or coming and being a part of our leagues, our own tournaments. I think we'll certainly get to a point where we're operating well enough on a daily basis that we're starting to run some of our own leagues, some of our own tournaments, specifically adhering to Emerald Acres. But obviously from the front part of it is bringing in some of the more regional, the nationally known tournaments, and hopefully we'll provide a way for a lot of the local teams and programs to join that tournament and come get their eyes on the facility. So whether it's local programming or tournament driven from a regional, national level, we hope to accommodate everybody in the local area that we can.
Okay.
We've pushed a lot that any involvement with local athletics has to be value add. Mm-hmm. So we were intentional with the facility that we weren't duplicating services. There's not a workout gym in this facility intentionally, because we didn't want to compete with the YMCA and the other gyms that exist in the area. So if we partner with the league, it's going to be partnerships, not now we're running a basketball league to compete with somebody else's basketball league.
Right.
And I think our hope too is that we spur some more travel teams that are based out of this facility. If we get a volleyball team based out of this facility, maybe some other travel teams.
I didn't think about that, yeah.
That people are traveling from our area sometimes an hour and a half away to play on other teams, that we have a facility that'd be great.
I didn't think about that. That's a good idea.
I mean, Grand Park, they had the bullpen tournaments, they're called. I mean, even though technically they're through the Indiana Bowls, which was a travel ball program in itself. I mean, they were huge.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have something like that here in the Mattoon, Charleston, local surrounding areas. Of course, I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
We got a few minutes left. We're talking to Blake Pierce and Tyler Yoder from Emerald Acres Sports Connection. Construction's underway right now. Hopefully sports maybe later this fall, maybe next year for sure. The excitement level, to me, it seems like is as we gear up now that we're in that fall semester, even though it's still August. It's got to be kind of exciting though that eventually there's going to be a volleyball or a basketball being raised in that place in the next few months. Blake and Tyler.
Yeah, so as Tyler mentioned, we have a few ideas in terms of how we're going to kick off the facility. I think we'll do some kind of an open house, ribbon cutting that everybody invited to. As you mentioned, we're planning the Chambers Community Breakfast, I think in December, is that what we're looking at. Just try to get some people into the space, because while for the average person that doesn't have kids in sports and maybe isn't into sports, it might not have a lot of impact. It's a big community asset that would be kind of cool for, I think, people to come see.
Oh, I think so, for sure. If you missed something, anything else that you guys want to get off your mind before we ask unrelated questions at Fun Time, that, if people need to contact it, can teams go ahead and get their pre-entry blanks in, or, whatever it is? It's your time, Tyler.
Yeah, we ultimately have a email that we use, info@emeraldacres.com. That's where a lot of our emails are filtered to, but we also have a newsletter we'd love for people to sign up to and get the news about what's going on. But we certainly, and ironically enough, being here on Eastern's campuses, want to be able to utilize this facility for a lot of opportunities for the local youth as well, and especially college-level students. I think we can use this facility for internship opportunities across the board, whether it's marketing, sports administration, et cetera. Using those, a lot of the college kids coming back on campus, you're going to have a great state-of-the-art facility right in your backyard. So being able to provide them with the experience they want to grow in their profession, and obviously help us out on a daily basis, is going to be vital to what we're doing as well.
A lot of college kids also might want a part-time job to be an umpire official or things like that as we go forward. Blake,
that was going to be my question. So, Tyler, as you're still building out the team, I think you still got maybe a couple open roles. Yep. But then as the center gets open, as you mentioned, you're going to need a lot of part-time help as well. How does someone, they want to be a part of that, where do they go apply? Where do they learn more about it?
Ultimately, a lot of that will be through the sports facilities companies' websites and our job portals. We'll make sure to post that out on everything Emerald Acres, whether it's social medias, our website, our newsletters. So focusing a lot of what we're pushing out on a daily basis to be filtered through directly with Emerald Acres content.
All right. Are you ready? All right. Rapid fire. We have a minute to go. Your favorite sport?
Baseball.
Football.
Oh, definitely.
Baseball.
I thought you were going to ask me.
I knew yours was baseball.
Come on, man. It's like, yeah.
Sorry. Your favorite concession item?
Ooh, I have to go hot dog on that one.
Nachos.
Popcorn with the cheese salt, though.
All-time favorite athlete?
Bo Jackson.
Deion Sanders.
Ichiro Suzuki.
Did you watch the Olympics?
I did.
A little bit.
I watched the breakdancing. I mean, you can't really miss that. I mean, come on.
Do you have a hobby, Tyler?
Anything involving sports.
Nice answer there.
I'd call the winery, I guess, my hobby.
Like watching baseball and making animation sometimes on my computer.
Golf, beach, or a cabin for a summer vacation?
I'd have to go golf. I'm not great at it, but yeah, I'd love to do golf.
I'm going to go beach.
Oh, probably a beach.
All right. Well, it was great meeting you, Tyler. Good to see you again, Blake. And more information, just go to their website, playemeraldacres.com or info@emeraldacres.com for the email as well. And best of luck, and we'll have you on soon, and we'll go do this again.
We appreciate it. Thanks so much.